Ash bloomed across the skyline as Erythra 7 burned. Alkari airships spiraled in flames, torn apart by Empire fire. The ground was a graveyard of shattered armor and smoking limbs. Commander Varkes crouched behind the last functioning barricade, his talons clenched around a plasma carbine slick with blood. The enemy was everywhere, unrelenting, mechanical, perfect in formation. He had begged for help. Across channels, into the void, messages sent to any surviving resistance cell. No response, no answer, no human frequencies. That silence struck deeper than any weapon. The Galactic Empire was not simply winning, it was erasing. Their machines swept the jungles clean with thermal scans and radiation bursts. No survivors. Drones hovered overhead, calculating wind resistance to optimize kill patterns. A cluster of refugee children were reduced to vapor in seconds. The Empire's commanders didn't even flinch. One Alkari lieutenant staggered to Varkes's side, clutching a broken arm, eyes wide with madness. They said the humans had weapons. Were they? Where are your Terran allies now? Varkes didn't answer. He couldn't. His jaw clenched against the truth. No one knew where Earth stood. Humanity had gone dark after the fall of Titan's last base. Entire fleets disappeared. No escape pods. No distress beacons. Just stories, the lieutenant mumbled. But I heard of something worse than their soldiers. A man. Not a man. They called him. He trailed off. Another explosion rocked the earth. A message came through. Empire frequency. Arrogant, booming. Resistance will cease within the hour. Your species will be archived. You're already forgotten. Varkes felt it in his bones. They were alone. Yet something tugged at him. Ancient instinct, a whisper in his blood. He tapped into an old, forbidden channel once shared during joint human-Alkari operations. Static, then barely audible, a single pulse, one dot, one ping. It shouldn't have meant anything. But his eyes widened. The Empire's battlefield AI picked up a sudden thermal distortion in Grid Sector 9. One unit dispatched to investigate. No return. The signal went black. Empire Command recalibrated sensors, dismissed it as a malfunction, sent another patrol. 3 biosignatures vanished. No sounds, no fight, no wreckage. Sabotage. One Imperial strategist growled. The Alkari survivors felt it first. Not saw, not heard, just felt. Something had changed in the air. Even the birds stopped chirping. The jungle held its breath. A nearby Empire walker turned, scanning the trees. Its auto-targeting flickered. Then something sharp and unseen tore straight through the metal cockpit. The pilot didn't scream. More movement, fast, erratic, beyond measurable speed. Blaster fire tore into the dark, hitting nothing. Varkes gripped his carbine and backed toward a ridge, pulling the wounded lieutenant with him. Was that? Varkes didn't answer. Empire officers ordered a sector lockdown. Their soldiers spoke confidently, though some hesitated. Then a voice whispered across their own channel. Garbled. Unnatural. Run. Empire mechs began to fall back. And for the first time in the campaign, they hesitated. The Alkari noticed. Varkes activated his visor feed and caught a single frame, red eyes in the dark. No body, just 2 lights and shadow. The lieutenant gasped, trembling. It's him. Who? Varkes asked. The Terran's nightmare. They don't say his name. They don't need to. He comes when they're gone. After the soldiers fall. After the diplomats vanish. He comes when it's already over. Varkes stared into the empty jungle. A ripple passed through the underbrush. He saw nothing, but still felt watched. They called him Boogeyman, the lieutenant whispered. And if he's here, the Empire's already lost. No one moved. Then, as quietly as it came, the forest returned to silence. Empire Command ordered orbital fire to cleanse the area. No confirmation of kills. Too late. Varkes held his breath. The Empire had silenced 100 worlds. They had cracked moons, broken fleets, crushed rebellions. But they had forgotten one rule. You don't wake what sleeps on Earth. And now, something had answered the call. The first patrol went missing in under 2 minutes. Empire Command assumed native interference. By the fifth team, they stopped reporting altogether. No distress calls, no visuals, just silence. The sensor drones above Grid 9 began malfunctioning. Heat maps glitched with strange pulses, 1 second, cold as stone. The next, flaring hot enough to trigger fire protocols. Then, nothing again. Imperial Commander Troll tapped the monitor, frowning. These anomalies explain. The technician swallowed. We think it's environmental, sir. A sharp scream cut through the channel. Not from the technician. From the jumble feed. Everyone froze. The scream cut abruptly, followed by a wet crunch. Then nothing. Troll narrowed his eyes. Deploy Shadow Legion. Within the hour, 50 elite operatives hit the dirt, cloaked, armored, neural-linked. Anti-stealth tech, predator drones, thermal shielding. They were specialists in rooting out insurgents and biological threats. Within 15 minutes, 2 were missing. 20 minutes in, they lost external contact. At the 25-minute mark, an operative manually triggered his kill switch. All feeds went dark. Only one feed returned. Helmet cam. Shaky. Silent. It showed a figure standing over a broken Shadow Legion soldier. The body still twitched. The figure didn't. No face. Black armor. Matted with foliage. Red visor. Then the feed cut. Troll turned to his second. That was human tech. But the movement, no standard pattern. No squad formation. One operator. His second officer didn't speak. His scales were pale. A communications officer turned. We have a match. Fragmented files from a classified Terran black site. Troll nodded. Name it. Project Baba Yaga. The silence that followed was worse than the feed. Someone at the back coughed. That's not real. But the older officers exchanged looks. This wasn't legend to them. It was memory. One captain whispered, that thing was sealed for a reason. The technician scrolled the document, stopping on the description, non-compliant human combatant. Status, beyond psychological deterrent. Behavioral profile, terminal. Another alert popped. Another patrol gone. No sounds. Just their location beacons blinking once before shutting down. Back at the perimeter, Alkari Commander Varkas received the same intel. The humans had responded. Only one. But it was enough. The younger Alkari asked what it was. Varkas didn't answer. He didn't know how. Empire squads tried everything. Sonic pulses, gas dispersion, thermal floods. The figure adapted. Vanished. Reappeared elsewhere. They left decoys. The decoys were dismantled before sensors even pinged contact. Fear spread, not from combat, but from knowing they were hunted. Commanders moved in groups now. No one wanted to be alone. Soldiers stopped laughing. Whispers spread. The Boogeyman had come. Empire morale reports registered new keywords. Unease, nonverbal anxiety, irrational withdrawal. Troll demanded reinforcements. The request was denied. High Command didn't believe one human was capable of this. Until the footage was forwarded. Until the name reached the Central Council. Then the order came, not to engage, but to evacuate. Too late. The dropships didn't launch. Their AI protocols corrupted mid-sequence. Guidance systems locked. Engines failed mid-start. One captain tried to override the launch manually. His hand was found still gripping the lever. Just a hand. Meanwhile, the jungle broadcasted a signal, one the humans used long ago. Encrypted, almost obsolete, but it repeated only one phrase. Return received. Situation controlled. Troll stared at the message, blood pounding in his ears. The Shadow Legion was gone. The perimeter was crumbling. And somewhere in the dark, red eyes were watching. A message played back from one of the lost helmets. A soldier's final breath. He wasn't fighting. He was hunting. Troll looked down at the map of the sector. There was no movement, but somehow he knew. The human wasn't just here to kill. He was here to send a message. To remind the Empire that even when humanity falls quiet, they're never gone. They wait. They evolve. And when they return as monsters made by monsters. Empire Command diverted an entire orbital array to monitor the jungle quadrant. Surveillance balloons, thermal nets, motion spikes. None gave answers. The terrain seemed to rebel against them. Shadows moved against the wind. Time lagged. Troops reported déjà vu. Some stopped speaking entirely. The last remaining Shadow Legion squad attempted a full sweep with aerial support. Drones launched. Within seconds, their telemetry reversed mid-flight and crashed into their operators. Their visors didn't show the enemy, only their own reflection moments before dying. General Troll initiated Code Red, a fortress-wide lockdown. No one enters. No one leaves. That included the Alkari. He didn't care. The humans had sensed something unspeakable, and his priority was containment. But walls didn't matter. One outpost went silent. Recovery teams found the soldiers intact, untouched, but dead. Their expressions frozen in terror, with no visible wounds. Another squad reported a figure watching them from the tree line. They fired, their weapons locked mid-trigger. The only survivor whispered in looping madness, "He let us shoot first." Reports described a single humanoid. No insignia, no call sign, no squad. The armor mismatched, pieced together from dozens of different Terran campaigns. The visor glowed red, but not always, only when he wanted it to. Empire analysts began linking data from old conflicts, places where rebel groups survived impossible odds, places where entire battalions vanished overnight. All had one anomaly in common: a lone red dot sighting. Baba Yaga was never officially confirmed. Until now, he didn't speak. He didn't negotiate. He simply arrived after humanity fell silent. A consequence, not a strategy. A force, not a soldier. In the jungle, soldiers set traps, mines, drones, shock walls. They never triggered. Instead, soldiers started disappearing between patrol intervals. Not during battle, in the seconds between motion pings. One soldier was dragged from his trench in front of his partner. No noise. Just gone. The partner fired blind, crying. His ammo jammed. He was left alive, shaking. A message burned into the ground beside him, carved with a blade. Not yet. The Alkari, watching from the cliffs, stayed silent. They knew this wasn't their fight anymore. They weren't being saved. They were being spared. Empire Command activated psychic trackers, hybrid organisms trained to sense predatory emotion. They screamed before self-immolating. Troll demanded answers from Central Command. They gave him none. High Command's last transmission said only, "Do not provoke further." Extraction denied. The Empire had realized its mistake. They didn't fear human armies. They feared what survived after the armies were gone. The myth wasn't just real. It was efficient. Boogeyman didn't destroy morale. He inverted it, turned fear into a weapon, turned retreat into ritual. He didn't leave wreckage. He left symbols, silence, looped screams over open channels, names of soldiers who hadn't yet died. He didn't need numbers. He was the number. Empire elites began deserting. Some turned their weapons on themselves when assigned jungle patrol. Others begged to be reassigned to death squads on other planets. The AI couldn't interpret what it was seeing. Logic loops broke down. Predictions failed. One AI simply shut off. One final squad of 10 was dispatched to detonate the reactor core. They never reached it. The camera feed captured the last 5 seconds. A red shimmer blinked past them. All helmets went dark. The reactor remained intact. The message was clear: no quick escape. No noble sacrifice. They would all see the end. Alkari scouts recovered a fallen Empire officer's black box. Final words, barely audible. There's no protocol for this. He's not human anymore. He's punishment. Boogeyman left no declaration. No speech. No message of defiance. Only the same old code repeating in Terran dialect. Observation complete. Judgment delivered. No further units entered the jungle. Not from the Empire. Not from anywhere. The war wasn't shifting. It was over. They just hadn't accepted it yet. Emergency recall orders were issued across the quadrant. Dropships prepped for launch, but their systems refused to respond. Navigation maps scrambled, control towers looped error codes. Launch sequences reset themselves endlessly. It wasn't sabotage. It was design. Every system had been touched, altered precisely. No brute force, just quiet, irreversible interference. Empire officers attempted manual overrides. Power feed shorted. A captain's final scream echoed through the command channel before cutting off mid-breath. Then the lights failed. Not a surge, not a strike, just absence. In the silence that followed, movement returned, not in numbers, not in formation, but in feeling. Doors open on their own. Footsteps without bodies crossed metal halls. Troopers opened fire into empty corridors, only to find their weapons had been disassembled while strapped to their backs. The high command tower sealed itself from within. No access, no override. Inside, General Troll stood alone. He'd watched planets burn, seen species kneel. He'd laughed when Earth transmissions ceased. But now, in the last sanctuary of the Empire's greatest offensive, he couldn't breathe. A cold whisper rippled across the air, a glitch in the speaker system. Then a word, closer. He drew his blade. The doors opened. No alarms, no lights, just the steady sound of slow, deliberate steps. When the recovery teams entered hours later, they found no bodies. Only one message, engraved into the center of the floor, carved with a precision blade. Do not chase ghosts. Outside, the jungle had gone quiet. Alkari scouts crept forward and found abandoned Empire equipment left in perfect order, as if carefully placed. No blood, no signs of battle, just stillness. The only living witness was Commander Varkes. He stood beside a crumpled transmission drone, listening to a final playback recorded hours before. Reinforcement arrived. Designation, Baba Yaga. Mission, neutralization complete. Across the stars, Empire fleets received encrypted alerts. The Erythra 7 operation was classified as terminated. No further inquiry. No mention of human resistance. No broadcasts, but rumors bled through. Pilots whispered of a red-eyed figure appearing on derelict ships. Mercenary bands refused jungle contracts in regions where shadows moved without sound. Boogeyman had not declared victory. He had declared presence. He wasn't sent to win wars. He was sent to end them, and he had no reason to stop. The Alkari rebuilt quietly. They didn't celebrate. They didn't question. The silence felt earned, but not peaceful. They understood now why humans never asked for help. They sent only one. Not because they had no army, because one was enough. Empire channels remained still. They had encountered something they could not quantify, replicate, or defeat. They had met the apex of asymmetrical warfare, one that didn't need recognition or reward. A myth weaponized, a story turned to steel. Some in the Empire tried to spin it. Just a ghost tactic, they said. A last-ditch terror weapon. But those same men silenced themselves when movement appeared in places where none should exist. On distant colonies, children began whispering new stories. Not of heroes, of warnings. Of the man with red eyes and no name. The one who comes when the war's already lost and still makes it worse. He does not come for vengeance. He comes because someone dared. In the end, no transmission from Erythra 7 ever showed his face. No proof survived, just a signature fragment in human encryption that played once before the last satellite burned out. Don't send armies to hunt humans. Send priests. And then, as before, silence.